Is this thing on? Hey, actually, I'm going to look over here in our group to see if I am live. I am. Ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that's freaky. I can't watch that way. Okay. Hey guys. I told you earlier that I was going to go live in our team page in lieu of our team call tonight because a couple of us that earned Success Club last month earned a personal development webcast with a mentor. This was hosted by Beachbody for those of us who earned Success Club in June. So I wanted to just take a few minutes, ideally no more than 15, to just give you guys a recap of what they talked about in these personal development webinar. But first I wanted to say it's really cool, I think, that Beachbody offers these, mentorships and these trainings as part of their reward system, right? Versus just always giving us some sort of like a free swag, like a, bag or a t-shirt or something like that, but to actually give us training that we can leverage to improve ourselves and improve our business, I think is genius. And I have to say, I never would have thought I would be the kind of person who would get fired up over like listening to someone talk about personal growth. I mean, in my corporate career, there were so many times when they're like, you have to read this business book. And I was like, I'm not doing it. They're boring as boring can be. But now, after some time with Beachbody, I'm definitely finding that these mentors and their insights are super inspiring to me. And I can take bits and pieces of what they say and apply it to my life, which is really empowering. So hopefully you guys can take some nuggets from this. I'm also going to type up my notes a little later and post them in the group because I do truly believe like personal development is only as good as it is used and only as beneficial as it is shared. So if you get something out of this, share a nugget with your team, help them leverage these same trainings. There's no reason why we can't all benefit from this. Okay. So 15 minutes, 9:15, and I'm going to bed. First things first, this webcast was put on by Michael Neiman, our director of marketing or president of marketing, and he interviewed a guy named Marcus Buckingham. Marcus wrote a best-selling book recently called Stand Out. It is it's a book about finding and leveraging your strengths in the workplace. Okay, so that's kind of what this whole thing was how do you figure out what your strengths are and how do you best leverage those to make yourself attractive and successful in your business venture so that people are drawn to you naturally. Okay, so it's kind of a cool concept. A couple of the things that he mentioned that stood out to me were that, when you think about if somebody asked you, what's your greatest strength in business or what's your greatest strength overall, a lot of people give like the pageant answer of, oh, I'm good with people, or I'm, I can talk to people easily or whatever, right? And when you give that kind of answer, it really does you a disservice. It really doesn't like help you figure out what you need to be doing on a daily basis to become more attractive and appealing to your audience. Okay, so without going down some sort of derail track there. Okay, I see you guys. Oh, cool, we got a couple people join. Hey. Okay, back on track. Sorry, this live thing is a little bit distracting. Anyway, guys. Okay, so Marcus Buckingham wrote this book, Stand Out. The whole genesis of it is trying to help you figure out where to put your time and focus so that you become the most appealing and attractive person that you possibly can be, which then, down the road leads to your success in your business. So his advice is that while most people will spend the majority of their time trying to fix their weaknesses, that you really should spend the majority of your time focused on leveraging your strengths. Okay, so he gave an example of like, when you go to your teacher's parent-teacher conference for your kid, and they show you the kid's report card, and they've got A, B, B, whatever, and then they have like an F down there at the bottom. The majority of the conversation that you have with that teacher ends up being about how to fix the F instead of how to, leverage what they are doing well. Same thing applies as adults, and especially in business, because unlike when you're a kid in school and you do have to like pass every class, in your adult life you can focus on doing the things that make you better and then cover the things that you suck at by building a team, right? And hiring people to help you cover and work around your weaknesses. That's the beauty of this team, right? We're not all the same. We bring different strengths to the table, and we all obviously struggle with different things. Nobody's immune. Okay, so he spent a lot of time talking about how to discover what your strengths are, because even though it sounds kind of like a no-brainer topic, like, duh, I know what I'm good at. He says that your strength is not necessarily something that you are good at. And this confused me for like 10 minutes of the call. But he's like, your strengths are things that, what was the word he used? Invigorate you. Okay. Your weaknesses are things that drain you. So to put that in perspective, right? When you go to like your day job or whatever, there's tons of stuff that you have to do no matter what. You can't like just check out and not do it. But when you think about like the day in and day out activities that you do, you're naturally drawn to certain things. You naturally look forward to certain things, even like little things that you do at your job, whether that's, for me, like some weird things about me, like I love to organize things. I tend to let things get messy, probably just so I have the opportunity to organize things again. I love filing, taking my laptop and taking all the pictures and videos and things that I've downloaded and whatever, and categorizing them and organizing them. That's like a task that I really enjoy. I'm drawn to doing that. That's just sort of part of my personality. Another thing that I'm drawn to doing is like creating content, like more artistic type stuff, like where you see all these graphics and banners and things like that. For me, that's kind of like a Zen time. It's something that we get to do as coaches, right? We get to create images and prepare marketing materials and stuff. And the process of creating those, at the end of when I'm done doing it, I might be tired because I've worked hard on a recognition post or something like that. But I also feel like invigorated and excited. It was fun. The time flew by, right? Versus some other tasks that are not as appealing. Try not to get too far off on a tangent here, but his point is that, your strengths lie in the things that you are naturally drawn to. And it's just a matter of applying that thing to the other stuff that, you still have to accomplish in your job, but you may not be as drawn to, or when you have to do those other things, you walk away drained. Before I get off this topic, I'll give you an example that he used, right? So something outside of myself and my experience. So he was saying that, like, for him in his job, right? He's an author. He interviews people all the time for material for his books. He was saying that, he feels most invigorated, most in the zone when he is interviewing people. He loves interviewing interesting people and like digging into their story and uncovering their details and things like that. He's like, I could interview somebody for hours if they would let me. Right? So that's a strength that pertains to his job that he really enjoys doing. On the other hand, a different activity that he has to do as part of his job as an author is to attend events where, you might be doing a book promotion or something like that. But where at those type of events, you're, as the author of the book, you're required to mingle with people. And he's like, I hate mingling. I hate mingling on every level. I hate everything about it. Superficial conversation, having to get into a conversation quickly and then get out of it somehow and worry about, if you leave that conversation too soon, somebody's going to be pissed off that you didn't give them enough time, whatever. He's like, the whole process of mingling at events, he's like, even though I'm good at it, right? I'm really good at doing it. He's like, I walk away from that experience feeling drained and like, bleh, right? I thought that was an interesting example. And and personally struck a chord with me because I've experienced that same thing as well in my corporate days of mingling sucks. So anyway, so he's giving these examples, right, of how in your natural approach to your job, you want to prioritize spending as much time as possible on those things that invigorate and empower you, things that you look forward to doing, versus the things that you tend to naturally procrastinate on. Okay? So he gave us this little tool on how to figure out what your strengths are. Because, like I said a minute ago, right, it's not always necessarily the thing that you're best at that is your strength, something that strengthens you, that makes you more in your zone, that gives you more energy, that gives you, more power to be more attractive to the marketplace, right? When you are at your best, you become naturally more attractive to your audience, to your customers, to the market in general, because you're like in the zone, maybe, right? When you have to approach a task or present yourself in such a way that really makes you feel like weak or unempowered, or you get that sort of stance, your market can tell. People can tell if you're not in it and if you're not confident. So he gave us a couple things on how to figure out what your actual strengths are, versus, the pageant answer or what you just think you're good at, okay, but might not necessarily be naturally drawn to. Okay, so the system was to look for your sign. It's an acronym, SIGN. The S stands for success, so activities that you have natural success at. Like, for me, right, I really enjoy creating graphics, like recognition graphics or advertisements, things like that. I really enjoy doing that. And so I practice it more, and so I'm getting better at it, right? Those things that you're naturally drawn to and succeed at doing kind of self-fulfills. Success. I is for instinct. Things that you're, I guess I kind of repeated myself here, things that you're naturally drawn to doing. You instinctually gravitate toward them versus, things that you tend to procrastinate on and put off until the very last second. G is for growth. He was saying, you can tell that you've identified a strength of yours when you kind of lose yourself in the task and time speeds up. It feels like you spent 5 minutes on this thing and it's been an hour, right? Those type of things. And then, again, kind of what I said before, N is for needs, something that you feel like you just need to do. You enjoy it. You look forward to it. You're fulfilled by doing it. Even if you worked your tail off on it, you walk away going, I did it, instead of, oh my God, thank God that's over. Okay. So that was just the general thing. So he challenged us to take a piece of paper. Maybe I can draw this for you guys. I'm not going to waste the time. We're getting on 15 minutes. He said to take a piece of paper, blank paper, draw a line down the middle, kind of like a steno pad, and on one side put loved it, and the other side put loathed it. And carry this piece of paper around with you for a week. And throughout your day, as you're doing your activities that pertain to your business, and you catch yourself doing an activity that you either loved or loathed, write it on the correct side of the page. Okay, so I'm not going to give a bunch of examples right here, but in general, he's saying, over the course of the week, you're going to see a trend in the types of stuff that you are naturally drawn to and enjoy as part of your job, and the stuff that you don't enjoy. Okay. This is just a self-discovery exercise. It's not like the end of the road. So once you've carried your list around for a week, you've made your list. His advice obviously was to, focus on how you can gear your life and your daily activities toward doing more of the love list than the loathe list. Because you are going to be strengthened and invigorated by doing those activities, and that's going to be you able to present a better version of yourself to your market, to your public, for your business, etc., which will lead to more success. Okay? So you're trying to get in that zone as much as possible. Going back to his example a second ago of like he feels best when he's interviewing people and at his worst when he's mingling, the example I gave him a minute ago, he said, once you have your love and loathe list, say that 3 times fast, to write out 1 to 3 strength statements. Okay. He gave an example, right? So you started out saying, I feel strong when I what? In his case, he said, pick the verb that best fits that sentence. So I feel strong when I am, in his case, interviewing, right? Versus paperwork, busy work, whatever, right? And then he said to take it one level deeper and ask, does it matter? Does it matter if, who I'm interviewing, right? Do you only like to interview certain people? Does it matter what I'm interviewing them about? Etc. So in his point that he gave on his own example was, yeah, I get fired up when I'm interviewing people, and the time just flies by. But it's only if I'm interviewing people who are interesting, right? People where our conversation goes into like a deeper level, right? He's like, I don't like to just interview any random schmo off the street. He's like, I want to dig into someone who has a unique story to tell and pull that out of them, right? So he found his zone. For us as coaches, I was thinking about this on the call, and I'm like, part of what drew me to coaching in the beginning was I feel strong when I'm like encouraging people, when I'm building them up, when I know I have the opportunity to have a positive impact on their self-esteem and on their confidence and all that stuff, right? Not necessarily like telling them how to do a rep or a push-up or whatever, I'm not that kind of trainer, but I get in my zone when I'm speaking that positive life over people, and I just could do it all day, right? Lucky thing I'm a coach, right? So that's number one, right? So figure out where you feel strong, where you walk away feeling better after the experience. Another way to put it is, I'm at my best when I am doing what? Okay, these are just ways. I'm going to put these in the notes, so don't worry about writing it all down. Okay. His point was, if you get too far away from that, if you get too far away from doing those things, you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna spin your wheels. Everything about this job is gonna seem harder than it needs to be because you're not aligning with your things that strengthen you, right? The job becomes something that drains your cup instead of filling it. So you have to get yourself aligned with the things that fill your cup. Sorry, so itchy. All right. He gave us an opposite example on how to do this for the loathe list. He said, look at the loathe list and own it, right? These are the things that you don't enjoy doing, that you put off, that you, they don't serve you necessarily, but, it is a job, right? So you can't necessarily just be like, hey, I'm not going to do those anymore. I don't like doing those. Peace out stuff. Nobody's going to just magically take this off your plate. So this is where he gave the mingling example, right? He says, take something on that list and make a weakness statement about it. I feel weak when whatever. In his case, it was mingling, right? He thought about the thing he hated most about his career and thing that he still had to do, whether he liked it or not. And it was going to these events and having to mingle and buzz around these events like a, celebrity or whatever. He's like, I'd much rather corner somebody in the corner of the room and interview them for 30 minutes at these events than to buzz about to other, little superficial conversations. His point here was, which I thought was really cool, he's like, you wouldn't think that that's the thing I hate most about my job is because I'm really good at mingling, but it just leaves me drained. So his strategy is you take those things that you are more weak in and you try to apply your strength to it. So in this example, right, he said, sometimes when I go to these events, I do exactly that. I treat it as like a series of mini interviews. I pick out a person and I interview them, right? And then when we get done talking, I go and I find the next person and I interview them. So he takes what he really loves doing about his job and he applies it to the thing he doesn't like. So again, right, in coaching, let's say that, in my case, I really love encouraging people. I love like building them up and feeding into them. Some things I don't like about coaching are honestly sometimes inviting, putting myself out there and feeling that risk of them thinking something about me that is, not true. So what I do sometimes to, in this case, what I might do to overcome procrastination around inviting is to initiate a conversation with somebody by encouraging them, by pointing out something positive about them. Anything, right? I see your, hey, Mr. So-and-so, I see your posts that you make on Facebook all the time. They're so positive and encouraging. They lift me up, blah, 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 blah. That's a lot of what we do as a coach. We encourage people and build their confidence, build their self-esteem. I think you would be amazing at it. Have you ever thought about coaching, right? So it's a lead in to an invite versus just like, hey, I'm running an open house tomorrow and I thought you might like to join, right? So take what you enjoy doing and dovetail it onto the stuff you don't like doing. All right, we're running out of time here. Hold please. Let me see what else there's pertinent, and then the rest I'll just stick in the notes. Oh, this one was awesome. I loved this. Okay, so after he talked about all this stuff about finding your strengths, he went on to talk about entrepreneurship. And I think that's it. Yes. Okay, entrepreneurship. So he said there's 3 things about being an entrepreneur that you have to internalize. One is the entire reason you start a business to begin with is because you have to believe, right? It goes back to the whole mindset, mind game. You have to believe that you have something compelling and unique to offer the world. Otherwise, there is 0 point for your business, right? So that being compelling and being viewed as compelling by your audience is the entire point of everything we just talked about, okay? Finding your strengths, finding what you naturally gravitate toward, finding where you deliver your best value to your market, that becomes compelling. Boom, you're in business and your business is thriving. Okay, so you got to focus in on those things, those specific love things. Number 2 was, this was the one I loved the best. Success is an iteration. Okay, I gave the example of when you come into business, your why. Take that back, sorry. When you come into business, if you think about you getting in your car and your journey as a business person is to drive across town, okay? Kind of suck at these, whatever these are analogies, but just hopefully you're getting the picture. So you start your business, you jump in your car, and your goal of your business to be successful is to drive across town. His point is that a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, they get in the car and then they go and they sit at that first stoplight and they see the 20 stoplights ahead of them between where they are now and the across town destination. And they go, okay, well, I'm going to wait for every single stoplight to be green and then I'm going to floor it and get to the end all before they turn red again. Great plan. He's like, no, just start, right? You're getting your car, start and go to the first stoplight. At that point, you're going to have to decide, turn right, turn left, go straight, whatever. He's like, there's so many iterations on your journey to success, to your ultimate across town goal, to your why, right? The big why that's sitting over there across town. He's like, you'll never get there if you wait for all the stoplights to turn green. You just have to start and keep iterating. Go to the next stoplight, go to the next stoplight, turn left, go to the next one, turn right, go to the next one, back up, all that stuff. He's like, that is something that you need to remember. Success is not a straight line, it's an iteration. Okay, baby steps. And then the last one was super powerful. I know we talk about this a lot, but the third thing you have to have as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is you have to have a customer. You have to have someone, this is the key, you have to have someone that you can serve. Your business has to serve somebody. So if you as a business owner get off track and turn this thing around and make it about you, or you make it about your product, or you make it about money, you're going to fail. You have to always keep the focus on, who am I serving? So you wake up tomorrow, you sit down at your computer to go run your Beachbody business. I want you to ask yourself, who am I serving today? Who can I serve today? Who am I serving right now? Is it my clients that have already said yes to me? Is it my coaches who are relying on me? Is it me who is relying on me to have a healthy body and be the product of the product, you are your own customer as well. And then is it someone in my Facebook sphere or my neighbor next door or my aunt who has diabetes or whatever? Who can I go serve? Okay, always keep that servant mindset. The very, very last thing, and I'm already 10 minutes over. The very, very last thing is, and this is something that Kevin had actually told me years ago in the corporate land, was his advice for continual growth was to cultivate your own board of directors, so to speak, your own like bench of mentors that can help guide your mindset and guide your steps forward or help guide you over bumps in the road. He talked about this personal board of directors or personal mentors, right? That could really be anything. I took it as, literally people in your social circle, whether that's people you already know, maybe people you worked with in the past, somebody that you aspire to be more like. They have a quality that you can appreciate and that you would want more of in your skill set. Kevin always put it as you have to have a sponsor, right? Somebody who sees a quality in you and is willing to work with you to help draw it out. But having this, board of directors or mentors really can help guide you along your path to success, as long as you're willing to ask them for help, feedback, input, etc. I also, this is just a side note for me personally, but I also think that with all the personal development that we do, like even this webcast, right? This is an influence that I would have never taken in before. I would have never sat on the web at 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday and listened to some guy talk about strengths. So you can think about all of your personal development work that you do as filling in the gaps in that board of directors or board of mentors that you may not have developed yet. And his last piece of advice is that if you, put whoever you've got on the list now, people that you go to regularly for advice and you value their advice. And if you have a gap, or you see someone that you don't really know yet, or you don't have a relationship with yet, that you want to be on that board of your board of directors, board of directors, he's like, make it a priority for you to go develop a relationship with them. Right? It's your job. It's your future. It's your business. You're in charge of who you are influenced by. So you have to take that first step to go build out your dream team. Okay, so that was it, guys. I am going to type this up because there's some other stuff I didn't mention on here, and I don't want to keep you on the phone or web or whatever this is forever. But it was a great podcast. My advice to you guys is soak all of this stuff in. There's tons of personal development audios, podcasts, YouTube videos, everything out there. Be a sponge. And, like I said, Beachbody has started offering these webcasts to us for Success Club rewards in the last 6 months or so, and they've all been fantastic. I just think there's been 3 or 4 of them now. And so make it your priority. Get in Success Club. It's helping 3 people. If you're approaching your business from that servant mindset, who can I serve today? You're going to be motivated and focused on finding people to help every day. And that is going to lead you down the road of achieving success in your business monetarily, as well as, the perks and rewards that Beachbody offers. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you have any thoughts or questions, I'd love to see them below. I can't see whatever you guys are typing down there because I have my phone rigged up in this awesome pencil cup. High tech. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback, thoughts, questions, and I'll post the notes in the group a little later. So thanks for tuning in, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Pencil cup out.